5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome to the Rideshare Zone, where every ride matters. And now, here is your host, Shawn, the Colorado Rideshare Guy.
Yes or no? All right. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Rideshare Zone, episode 12. So, here we go. All right. So, welcome in. We're cruising right along, and got a lot of interesting stuff that we got going on today. And, of course, we always got to pick on the favorite one, and we'll see how that goes. So, all right. Well, we got Waymo as our first item on the topic, and we'll go from there. And we got right now Twin Pines Studio and Bubba Sue saying hi. Bubba Sue says she loves the new intro. It's actually an old intro. I just finally got it working correctly this time because I blew up my old profile on OBS and started over. So, but thank you. I like it too. But yeah, I've been running it a couple weeks. Just the audio didn't work with it. So anyway, all right, let's get down to this with the Waymo. So Waymo's now running autonomously in Nashville after all the testing that they've done. And just after a few short weeks, they've received 33 complaints already. So I'm not sure what they got going on with that, but oh wait, it's just like everywhere else that they run autonomously. They keep getting buried in complaints and problems. Metro PD says they've had 33 complaints and things with alleged traffic violations from car speeding. About that one, but because really we haven't heard anything or seen much on that possibility. Driving too slowly, we've seen plenty of that going on. Failure to respond to appropriately to traffic light sequences. Yep, we've seen plenty of that. We don't need to be engineers at Waymo to all these complaints. We can say they're valid. We got plenty of video evidence of it. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, vehicles double parking in the road. That's kind of happens about everywhere, even just doing rideshare. So that one I'm almost going to give them a pass on. And unless they're doing it in an area that is completely illegal. I mean, it's technically you're not supposed to double park anywhere anyway. But if you get out of the way if you need to, that's something pretty much that everybody in the rideshare world does. So not going to fault them on that one. But disrupting traffic flow, yes, they impede traffic tons. And so good old Waymo, that's what the results are, them running around in Nashville. Welcome in Sartec Canine Handler. How you doing, Colin? But while we're still speaking of Waymo, and again, they just launched autonomously in Nashville. They're continuing to grow, guys. This is something that isn't gonna go away anytime soon. They're now running around in autonomously. They have 11 service areas, and then they have 20 more that they're in testing. So the dark blue that you see on the map here is all testing areas, and then the light blue is areas that they're running autonomously. I mean, they're currently in Atlanta, Georgia, Austin, Texas, and by the way, you can get an Uber ride in those two markets with Waymo. And then they got Dallas, Texas, which is brand new, Houston, which is new, LA, Miami, of course, Nashville, we just talked about, Orlando, Phoenix, San Antonio, which we all know about, and then San Francisco. So those last three we've been talking about pretty extensively, and that's it. They're going to continue to grow. That's what we're faced with. We're just going to have to roll with this. For everybody that does rideshare, it's going to keep growing, because particularly if they're even Waymo and Uber partnering together. We'll talk a little bit more about Uber and what their strategy is later on in this episode. But none of it's going away, guys. Let's just learn to figure out what we got to do with this and keep going and growing. Welcome in, Toyo. How you doing? And all right, so now moving on to Lyft. Lyft is now up to they have reinvented their marketing math. And we've all known about the marketing math that they do, promising the drivers they get 70%, their 70% earnings commitment on a weekly basis. Well, if that's not enough for Lyft to get greedy and try and sway everything, that they're now taking that weekly. So they take all the rides that you have for the week, and after they've taken everything that they can out of it, if they still didn't squeeze enough out of you, then they give you a little kickback to keep that earnings commitment. Well, they must be given too many earnings commitments being paid out, because now they are moving it to monthly. Isn't that wonderful? So now they have more opportunities to try and balance everything out, so they don't have to give you your 70% earnings commitment. So I know there's been some other people talk about this, but I had to throw my 2 cents in on it. And, they're just continuing to manipulate the drivers, and they put their little spin doctor, marketing math in this and say, oh yeah, this is a great thing. This is a great, no, bull crap. This isn't a great thing. You're just, like I said, you're playing the numbers and you're moving the bar to your side a little bit more just by moving this to a monthly thing. They claim, oh, the drivers, you've asked for it. You're the ones that wanted this. And they said it's too confusing. So apparently drivers are too stupid. So now we're going to confuse you on a monthly basis instead of just a weekly basis. How about you just get rid of the stupid marketing math and you just tell the drivers straight up how much they're getting? Colorado, with a transparency state, we see it every ride with Uber and Lyft. Right after that ride, pops up right on the screen. It's forced right on the screen for us, and we see exactly how much passenger paid, how much we're getting out of it. So we could do some simple math and say, oh, I'm getting 40%. Oh, I'm getting 60%. Oh, I did really well on this one. I got 75%. So Lyft, quit screwing around. I don't know what makes you feel better. I don't understand why Uber, Lyft, or any of these other companies, we're going to talk about another one tonight, that are doing this with their marketing math and being deceptive to drivers and treating them like they're stupid. I mean, obviously, there are a bunch, of drivers, and I'm not saying this disrespectfully, that are financially illiterate. They've not had an opportunity to learn how to do some of these things. So later on, we're going to use another company and go through their marketing math and show you where they're not paying the amount that they say with the drivers. And probably a lot of you regulars know exactly which company that is that we're going to be talking about, because I've talked about them before. And in fact, before we get too far into that, so let's show you this little thing with the Lyft cap fee. So they put this cute little chart together, got a nice little donut, saying, oh, Uber gets, we take 14%. The rest of it goes to insurance, taxes, government fees. And then you get 70%. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? Don't you love that marketing math, guys? Why don't they quit watering all that down and then just say the drivers really get 40 to 60% on there? So they also changed the operating calculations, so drivers are going to get less now. Yeah, Bubba Sue, I'm not even going to get into that part of it. This is it's so ridiculous. They're doing everything, whoever called it the cap fee, well, it was probably a Gen Z that was probably decided they were going to troll Lyft a little bit in themselves, a little bit. And if you go on Urban Dictionary, here's the definition of cap. A lie for all of us old people. Most of us, I think, know what cap means to those kids, but it's a lie or untruthful statement. So the Lyft cap fee is actually an accurate statement. What's up, Steve? Rideshare Rodeo's in the house. Welcome in, brother. So anyway, that's it. Now, you guys ready to have some fun? I'm not having fun. I'm pissed, actually, about this one. So bear with me if I get a little wound up. But it's going to be really helpful and valuable to any of these drivers that want to really see what's going on. I'm fed up, and we're going to get into exactly why I'm fed up. And people at the co-op are going, they're unhinged now. I'm done. I've tried working it internally, and then now this went and happened today, or not today, yesterday. This is the co-op's board president came onto a video of mine and made this comment. The new board president says, with respect to you, don't try to hurt organizations that you've been part of. I'm not trying to hurt organizations. I'm trying to help the co-op. So don't come and attack me on my social media platform. I've already told you that. You have my cell phone number. You have my email address. You could text me, call me, or email me, but don't come onto my social media and disparage me. Don't ever do it to anybody else either. That goes for any of you at the co-op. I'm done with y'all now. You went too far this time. Don't try and suppress. Well, I've already had one conversation when I left the board about someone trying to suppress my First Amendment right, and then you come onto my social media and do that. No, you're done. I'm done with you. I'm done with all of you and your antics. Come after me with your stupid little policy. I don't care. I'm not reporting anything that's inaccurate. We're going to dig into this. I'm going to show everybody the numbers now. Y'all just keep up with your marketing math that you're up to, saying you're giving drivers 80%. Hell, you even had one of your board members testify in front of the House of Representatives at a hearing in regard to House Bill HB 26-1273, saying that, oh, we give our drivers 80%. It's on record, it's recorded, but it's a lie. You lied under oath. So you know what, you guys, I'm done. I don't care anymore. So let's just get down to this and let's start going through this. Bear with me. I'm going to be a little emotional on this, guys. We're going to get through it, and then we're going to put it behind us, and we'll let it go and let it roll. So, but I'm not letting them lie to anybody anymore. So, Ahmed, you're the new board president, and you come on, and you don't like that I'm exposing the 80%, then change it. I'm not making negative comments about the co-op. I'm reporting the facts. If you don't like my tone and you don't like my message, that doesn't matter. That just means your feelings are getting hurt. It doesn't mean that I'm being disparaging to the co-op. It doesn't mean I'm doing things to negatively reflect against co-op. You guys are the ones that are negatively reflecting against the co-op. I'm the one that's just going. So, this is ridiculous, guys. Sorry, I was looking at the chat for 2 seconds. Yeah, exactly. Awesome, Amy. They can't handle the truth. So then they get mad and they write this ridiculous policy, about how, you can't go on social media. You can't make statements without authorized, we talked about this stupid policy that they put back together. Ahmed, you voted for that policy. So you're trying to suppress the drivers and people that are just trying to make a change for the better for the co-op. And I've heard some people make some stuff you guys don't like to hear. I've seen people say a lot of stuff and you've taken action against someone that you didn't like what they have to hear. But are they wrong? Again, just because you don't like their tone doesn't mean they're wrong. Same thing goes for me. So, yeah, exactly. Awesome, Amy. Sartek K9 says, get him, brother. Colin, you haven't seen me on one of these rants in a little while. It's been a few years, right, brother? Yeah. Watch your step, co-op. Let's if if you want to come on my show and let's have an intelligent conversation, I promise you I will not rant like this, but you're gonna be presented with some tough questions. Ben, what is up, my man? If you don't want to come on to mine, maybe Steve will give you an invite Thursday, and if you'd like, go on his. He's got a bigger platform than I do anyway, so you get a bigger reach to tell your side of the story. If you think that there's anything I'm saying that's wrong, call me on it. Let's have a discussion. But I can guarantee you, I am not saying anything that I haven't researched. And we're going to let's continue to dig into this and co-op. You're going to find out. This is what happens. Now you've attacked me. You create a hostile environment for me when I was on the board and I decided to leave. And now you come onto my social media and create a hostile environment. Well, guess what? I'm biting back now. All right. Let's dig into this first one. What do we have here? Well, I'm still on this rant. Bear with me because it's a little harder to keep focused on some of this stuff. So, oh yeah, here we go. So this is real interesting that I'm getting ready to. So while Ahmed's busy coming in and telling me, don't say bad things, about a company you represented. You guys saw here, let's go back to this. There's his comment. With respect to you, that's like saying God bless your heart from a Southerner. Don't even say that. Don't try to hurt an organization that you've been part of, that I've been part of. So that's past tense. Did you guys deactivate me as a driver? I haven't got any notifications. So you said that all in past tense. I'm still a driver for the co-op, aren't I? Would you like to at least answer that question for me? I mean, I haven't received 8 rides since March, but I'm not going to put my tinfoil hat off and say you passively have deactivated me, but maybe you have. I don't know. That's the implication, Ahmed. You want to come talk about that one too? So anyway, while you're busy disparaging me, I'm defending the co-op on X, aka Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And because we have some uninformed guy that I posted a video and he's making all these comments. And Todd likes to do this. He likes to stir the pot sometimes, and this and that. And so I went and told him he was uninformed, and he was accusing the co-op of using algorithms and making other accusations. You can go on my Twitter account and or my X account, go look and see what all that says. That's still up there. And then he says, well, how did you know? I said, they don't use algorithms, yada, 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 so on and so forth. And he says, well, how do you know? I said, well, I was the president of the board of co-op. Well, guess who liked that post? The Drivers Co-op social media manager. So again, I'm not the frickin' enemy. Just because you don't like my message doesn't mean at all that I'm the frickin' enemy. Y'all need to grow up and put your big boy or big girl britches on, whatever, and listen to the hard truth. So if you look at this, you can see, and it said you go on the co-op's website, ta-da, because you're not right on your assumptions. See, I'm sitting there defending the co-op in writing. I don't have any freaking agenda against anybody. I'm just here to talk the truth about things. And again, don't like my tone? I don't care. I'm Gen X. I wear that proudly. Your feelings don't matter. But that's also why I didn't fit in well with the governance of the co-op, because sitting around singing Kumbaya and eating s'mores isn't my flavor. I want to get business done and make some money so we can give these drivers truly everything that you're promising to them instead of all this other stuff. So let's get down to the fare breakdown. Okay, so this is what you get for a fare breakdown. Remember, we've talked about this 80% over and over and over and over, right? Okay, all you saw in there was $5.43, right? You didn't even see how much the passenger paid, and that's after the trip. So Colorado transparency law, you're supposed to be able to see that right away. And I'm also supposed to be able to see it after the fact, right? Well, this is what we get. Okay, now notice the date on that ride. This was during the testing phase, okay? Now, it doesn't matter for this exercise because not much changes for what we're talking about, and the driver's not getting 80%. In fact, this was the first time I noticed that the drivers weren't getting 80%. This was a test ride that I did. It was a full test ride. So it wasn't like, working in a sandbox environment. This was a live environment, and it was on it was on my rider account. And so we went back and forth on that. I accepted the ride. But at the end, all I see is $5.43. Okay, so you see where it says fare breakdown and you got more and that little plus sign? Well, that's what you got to do. And then you get all this. And guys, forgive me. I know if you're on a mobile device, you cannot see this for crap because I can barely see it. But then it gives you the transparency of it. Now, here's the thing. I got paid $5.43 for this ride. The rider paid $8.31. Okay, we're going through a little financial literacy training, guys. If you want to simply figure out really easy how much you're getting paid per ride, take the amount that you got paid minus the total amount the rider paid. Okay, that is not 80%. But what they do is they go and water it down and they call it a trip fare. Okay, and I didn't even calculate this trip fare of $7 and then $5.43. That doesn't come out to 80. Does that come out to 80%? I think it does. Anyway, but if you take the $5.43 and $8.31, that is 65.34296028880. Anyway, it's 65%, guys. So, yeah, 34.7 to the co-op. Steve can math, but they said that they only take 20%. But wait, it gets even better. We'll get into that in a second. Once we get through these, Steve, tune into this one. You're going to love it because they've made even more exaggerated statements. And I think the Attorney General should be taking a look at this, but we know what anyway, they're not going to do anything about it. There's people that have got dead that they're not doing anything about, and much, much worse crimes. But you tell me you care about the immigrants, you care about this and that, but then I have to go and click another button to get down to the details. And then I look at the details and say, oh, that's not 80%. Okay, so that was a testing phase, right? So you guys said, well, maybe it was during testing. That was when I called them on the carpet for it and said, we're not getting 80%. And then they stumble around and, made some, I'm not even, because I can't prove it, so I'm not going to make any claims one direction or another, but they didn't do anything about it. But I will tell you, put me on a polygraph. I brought it to their attention and it fell on deaf ears. And I have brought it to their attention 10,000 other times in front of the entire board when I was on the board, and still falls on deaf ears. Everybody says, oh, well, you're fundamentally right, but, blah, blah, blah. Well, technically you're right, but no, technically none of this other bull crap. You're either pregnant or you're not. Stop freaking, putting these false hopes to drivers. And damn it, you're still paying way more than Uber and Lyft most of the time. We'll get to the other ride and what the rides typically are now, because I think they did make some adjustments based on some feedback, we'll call it, and go from there. So let's look at the chat before we move on to the next ride. I'm going to do one more ride here really quick, but I have over 50 of these guys. So co-op, you want to come after me for exposing the fact that you are not paying your drivers 80% and you're telling the drivers and the communities that you serve, you're given, and again, under oath, telling the House of Representatives members that you're giving them 80%, you're misleading everybody. I just had the numbers, guys. Sorry, you can hate on me for telling the truth, but it's not an actionable offense. Again, all right, so let's look at the chat here real quick. We'll show this other one, and then we'll kind of start. We'll start transitioning. We're going to show a couple other things, then we'll transition over to another fun subject here with it. So, Bubba Sue said, "Liar, liar, pants on fire." That is absolutely true. Rideshare Rodeo says, "Well, they lie." What co-captain says Sue. Steve has some fun little emojis that he threw down on the chat here. All right, guys, thanks for sticking with me while we're sitting here on a tangent. Joe Jam Woodworking, welcome in, brother. Saw you sneak in while I was in the middle of my soapbox raid. Can you build me a bigger soapbox, Joe? I need one for this. So. Anyway, all right, so let's see. Where are we at in my little rantathon here? So, anyway, I'm not hurting the organization. You are. So, let's just keep going on with this. Let's see here. We got the ride seats. So, oh, yeah. And then they like to use the word transparency all the time. I love that. Transparency. Transparent as a roll of toilet. Anyway, a roll of toilet paper. Is there anything in the term of service says 80% to the driver after fees are removed first? No, there's not, Steve. At least I'm 90% sure on that. But they've changed a lot of things since I've left, like introducing new ridiculous. If we don't like what you say policies, we're going to take action against you. Yeah, you're going to get in a whole lot of trouble with the PUC for that one. If you take a driver out of commission just because you got butthurt about something somebody said. So, all right, ready? Let's get onto this one real quick. I'm going to just take it here. So I already clicked on it, opened it up so we can see exactly what the fare breakdown is instead of just the driver earnings. So on this ride, and this was a ride in November, by the way, that I got paid $11.28, and the rider, as you can see on here, the rider paid $15.62. That is 72.21%. 22. We'll round that part up. So 72%. 72% is not 80% co-op. And again, that's so damn close to 80%. Why do you have to lie to your riders and give them your marketing math and look like Lyft, who we just talked about in their marketing math? Are you going to start doing monthly adjustments if you don't get your 80%, and then you'll start adding on more insurance fees just so you can cover it? Yeah, I'm probably giving you a brilliant freaking idea, huh? You're like, oh yeah, can we do that? No, this would be the one good thing. HB 26/12/73. Once it passes, then you do have to make that adjustment, and then drivers will go, oh, I got paid a little bit more. Well, why don't you all just put up and apologize to the drivers right up front and say, oh, we're sorry, we weren't being transparent, we weren't following our standards, our guidelines, we weren't following the foundations of co-ops, which, by the way, in the bylaws it says that that you have some ethical standards that you have to uphold to in regard to co-op associations. I think you should evaluate whether you're in compliance with that. If not, then maybe all of you that are both in management and on the board, if you're not living up to those values, by letter of the values, not your freaking interpretation, then maybe you should consider your position, what you're doing, if you should be there. Because I don't think I will tell you, I do not, and I'm showing why I think this, that any of you that are allowing this to continue to happen are not healthy for the co-op and for the betterment of the drivers. So be mad at me for being a one-man marching band, beating my drum, clanking my cymbals, playing my harmonica, telling the story about not really getting 80%. But hey, who cares about 80%? Because, oh, wait, here's a post. There's an Instagram post. Look, you get 80%. And these are supposedly platform fees of 55% and platform fees of 20%. So I don't know. Again, your marketing math isn't making a whole lot of sense to me, but we'll just go with that. If that was not good enough, this is a beautiful one, guys. Hold on. Everybody look at this one. Stop what you're doing. Uber takes up to 50% of your fare. The co-op takes 0. The co-op takes 0. Well, on this one, you took 65%. You took what? Blah blah blah. See, I'm getting freaking scrambled here. That you took part of the fare out of there for your own profits, but you're saying the co-op takes 0. Oh, by the way, the interesting thing is, so the short Asian guy in the white shirt, that is Kay Wu, the founder of Tada, and he's with one of the other board members in that, and that was, I believe, that photo was taken in July when they were doing their kickoff. So absolutely, Steve says they can't make 80% work anyway. I've said that all along, and that was why I got on the board, but was to get that change, to be transparent with the drivers. And it would be tough at 25%, Steve, really, to do it. So here's another great over-exaggeration. Democratic ownership means drivers have real power. All right, drivers, how much power do you feel you have at the co-op? 1 driver, 1 vote, which is exactly what we have with the co-op laws and the bylaws, that no one has more shares, everybody has the same. So 1 driver, 1 vote on fares. Hey, drivers, have you ever voted on any fares? Hell, I, as a board member, didn't get a vote on fares when I was with the board. Management just arbitrarily did whatever they wanted, and then, and went with it from there. Okay, so 1 driver, 1 vote on policies. Drivers, have you ever voted on any of the policies that the co-op has? Now, as a board member, we passed and voted on some policies. And so 1 driver, 1 vote on the co-op's future. So what have you voted on other than last year when there was an election at the end of August where you voted me and 6 other people, or 5 other people, because one is a representative Rocky Mountain Employee Ownership Center. But when you voted for those board members, what other votes have you done? Now, you elected the board to represent you on matters, but this is not what you're not voting on fares. You're not voting on policies. So, you kind of got to vote on the co-op future, but when the driver says, the driver community says they're not, and the driver community I hear from is a very small portion, guys. So Bubba Sue asked how many drivers are in the co-op. Right now, they state that they have 1,200 drivers, approximately, was the latest public number I saw. So I'm not giving away any confidential information, co-op. So don't even go down that road. So that's what they say. But if you look at a news article that came out today, passengers complain that they're having a hard time getting rides. Not saying anything disparaging co-op. I'm just reporting the news about what writers are saying in the news article that you guys are so proud of, and your new president was quoted in so much. But yeah, writers can't get right. So if you have 1,200 drivers and the majority of them in Denver, and I think this person was in Denver, then well, so Bubba Sue, being a cooperative, there's some requirements. Well, number one, and I'm a big advocate for this, and they tried to somebody proposed it to the board to waive the requirement for a dash cam. That's one unique thing with the co-op, is that they do require a dash cam, or Uber and Lyft. And actually, I think they're the only one that I know of that does require a dash cam. And that was not my ingenuity or anything genius. It was a big reason. I'm like, okay, they're doing things right, man. They require you to have a dash cam. Hell yeah, I want to sign up for this. I want to get involved early. I want to help build the co-op. But you can't help them if they don't want your help, even when you're qualified or way overqualified for some of the tasks. And yet it still falls on deaf ears. So yeah, so the other piece of it, Bubba Sue, and people do, one of the biggest complaints about not signing up with the co-op is the lack of dash cam, is was reported to me, both as a board member and a non-board member. So again, I'm not sharing anything confidential. Anyway, there's a fee associated with it. They have a $300 membership fee. Now, what they've done is waived it, and they only require holy smokes, Sue. Hold on. Let me finish this statement, and then we're going to talk about that for a second, Bubba Sue. But I think I know where it came from. Anyway, they have a $300 fee, and they waived all of it temporarily to be able to get drivers on board. And they said, okay, we'll take $50 for the background check. And I don't know what they're doing with all the money, because the background checks cost less than $30. So I don't know where the rest of the money is going. And you can make an argument for administrative fees for processing the application, but all they say is it's $50 for the background check. But there's got to be more to it than that. Whenever, again, just about 35% of that's going to the actual background fee. So anyway, so Bubba Sue, let's talk dash cams for a second here, because man, I'm about tired of this too. And we're almost done with this thing with the co-op anyway. But Bubba Sue has a dash cam, guys. Oh, I wish I had a little yay applause clap. Yay! Anyway, no, that's awesome. Good for you. I hope you never have to use it, but at least now know in comfort you have it. And man, that's awesome. And again, hope you never have to use it. You might get some fun videos out of it or something you want to post, because I just got so much going on. I don't have time to do all that. But yeah, so that was courtesy of Steve with Rideshare Rodeo. Got her that dash cam. Steve, thank you so much for protecting one of our great friends, Bubba Sue, and getting her that dash cam. That was really generous of you, my man. You deserve a lot of thanks for that. You're really good people. You did it with no other than you told me, because we were talking about something at a conversation, and I think I mentioned I got to figure out a way to get sponsored so I can get Bubba Sue a dash cam, but yeah. Anyway, all right, where the hell are we? All right, guys, look, here's the bottom line. I'm going to wrap this up with one last thing. I'm going to go through some of my notes here real quick, just to make sure I'm not missing something important in all the rant. We already talked about, don't even come throw your ridiculous disciplinary policy at me. I mean, you can. I don't care. Why don't you just send me a settlement agreement and throw me some money? Oh, yeah, you don't have any money because you keep burning through it. Anyway, let's see. Again, you don't like what I'm saying. You have to evaluate. You got to break this down, co-op. You don't like what I'm saying. Why? Am I saying lies about you? Nope. Not saying lies about you. Do you not like my tone about it? No, you don't like my tone. Do you like where I'm taking this? That's on you. You had an opportunity to fix this. So remember, as this whole thing continues to go on, guys, just remember, and that's all I got to say on that one. You guys are like, holy crap, thank goodness he's done with that. But now we get to go have some fun over here with their technology partner. Right. I hope you all got that last little soundbite and enjoyed it, because I did. I said that to Steve in a text message yesterday. So I was like, I got to incorporate that into there. And that's it. I'm not playing anymore. Meanwhile, you're sitting there disparaging me on social media. You're going after other drivers because you got butthurt about things that they're saying on social media about you, and they go, oh, yada yada yada. Oh, it hurts so bad. It's not untrue. So, no soundbite. What? Oh. Hold on, we're going to fix this. Hold on. It should have worked. I'm sorry that didn't work, guys. I didn't cut it off way too quick. That's as quick as it was. It was just that short of a bite. Just says they drew first blood, not me. For those that are too young, like Twin Pines Studio, to have ever seen that great movie. Oh, second one worked. Awesome. All right. That was just a little OBS glitch then. Truth hurts. Suck it up, Buttercup. Exactly. Well, now, y'all gonna make me just keep replaying this thing. Like, okay, this is gonna be my new soundbite for the week. We had the birds last week. Now we got Rambo this week. All right, enough of that. Anyway, had to wind it down with a little bit of fun before we move on. So, to replay the birds, Amy says, I don't know, that one loaded. So you're stuck with Rambo tonight. All right. So a lot of you saw the video that I posted about the new rideshare company in New York City. That video right there. I just posted back. Colin says, bring back the birds. Anyway, maybe I don't think we have any birds. Sorry, guys. Anyways, gosh, you're already bored with me. I don't blame you after listening to me about that rant, but seriously, I hope you guys got some value out of that, and you learn. It's really simple to figure out what your percentage is on, even with food delivery. You can figure that out as well if you know some of these. Some things, we get a receipt on there, be kind of interesting to track. Oh, they paid X number of dollars at Taco Bell. How much should I get? What percent did I get on it? So that's not the co-op banner. Where do you see I have a co-op banner, Steve? That's Ta-da, this new one. That's Ta-da. Oh my gosh, you guys are getting me derailed. All right, so anyway, new rideshare company, Ta-da, out of there. But yes, it's very confusing because driver co-op with TAKEOVER. See the similarities? Because, they were great partnerships, because TAKEOVER was the one that the app, they're the app developer and technology partner, as they refer to them for it. I don't know what you mean about the other yellow banner, Steve. I think you're just screwing with me now, trying to distract people, because I don't have any other yellow banner. I've got some license plates up there. I got this Kansas license plate. That's an Alaska license plate, if I remember. I don't remember that's an old Colorado license plate, I think. So, Steve, I think you enjoyed the 420 celebration yesterday too much, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, kidding, brother. All right. So, TAKEOVER has gone into New York City. Go watch the entire video if you haven't seen it, if you have any interest, because they're based out of Singapore. They partnered up last year with the co-op to become a technology partner. You'll tell me later. Okay, sounds good, Steve. A technology partner to help the co-op, because the app that the co-op had was absolutely awful and didn't work. So for those of you that haven't had that background yet, that's where TAKEOVER and the co-op met. Okay, so there's been a whole lot of frustration from a lot of drivers about this new app that TAKEOVER built, and saying it's not working, it's not doing this, and I even jokingly, was like, if I had my tinfoil hat, it seemed like, they're just using us. And, and I literally have made this comment over and over and over. There's many people that can vouch for it, saying, what is TAKEOVER going to do? They're using the co-op to learn how to operate in the U.S., and that's exactly what they did. I cover all that in the video, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but people are just like, no, this isn't it, so on and so forth. And, well, you look at everything that I talked about in that video about TAKEOVER, it's like, oh, we're kind of done. We're kind of done with the co-op. Now we're, just moving on. And, well, how do I know that's literally true? Okay, good. So this was the WhatsApp group that TAKEOVER New York City started for their, what they claim is now 20,000 plus drivers, if you look at that. So they claim they've now recruited, they said in a post from about a week ago that they had 10,000 drivers. Now they're boasting on their WhatsApp chat group. Now, the more interesting thing about that than this is somebody asked at K, so that's K Wu, the founder of TAKEOVER, says, why is your app with Drivers Co-op Colorado, that's DCC, have so many issues? Why aren't they fixed after all these months? So, what do you think the response was with that? Kay Wu comes on and says, we've received your feedback now. We're adjusting, improving system with 100 focus on TAKEOVER New York City. After the updates in New York City, co-op will be updated with new features, blah, 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 blah. So this person that went on there and decided, well, I can't get answers one way, I'll get answers another, went and posted on the WhatsApp chat group for TAKEOVER's venture in New York City, and that was the response I get. So co-op, they don't care about you. They've only been using you, just like I said, and they don't care about you anymore. And man, I hope this one works. I hope that one worked. But yeah, that's kind of it. Tada doesn't want to play with you anymore, co-op. They're 100% focused. Per the CEO, founder, whatever you want to call him, of Tada, they're 100% focused on New York City. They don't care about you or your app or us and our app, because I'm still a driver. So, oh my gosh, no sound. This is killing me. But anyway, everybody's seen Toy Story in here. We'll just say Andy's Tada. And I don't want to play with you anymore. That's what Andy said, and he drops him in the trash. That's what Tada's doing to the co-op. So mad that didn't work. Oh, well. Oh, my gosh. There we go. We got rid of all of those little logos. So Steve doesn't accuse me of tired, guys. Y'all are wearing me out, making me get on these rants. Co-op. I need some rides. Or are you done with me? You don't want to play with me anymore either. I feel like Woody. You're so mean. You're not wrong on that, Steve. All right. So I don't even know if I want to go to this one, because this was kind of, well, you know what? This is a horrific story. We're going to do the bad driver of the week story. So this one comes straight out of, where the heck did this come out of? Hartford, Connecticut, I think, is somewhere. to Manchester. There we go. Anyway, so Uber driver stabbed a passenger. And this whole thing, it definitely, this has got to be one of those that it would have been great with a cops episode, because all of a sudden you had this guy show up just before midnight at your police station, and this guy, 44-year-old we'll just call him Hurtin Joseph. He showed up at the Manchester Police Department to report he stabbed a passenger in self-defense. So apparently there was a riot that started at Buffalo Wild Wings. Things got really wild there. And so it goes back and forth. They're trying to figure out where it happened and, going on here. Meanwhile, a passenger shows up at, I believe, a Noble Mart. So I guess the passenger shows up at a gas station, and around 1:44 a.m., so I don't know why it took them so long to get to it. And according to the descriptions, that they had serious stab wounds to his upper chest and back. Not sure how things got so bad with an altercation that the passenger got stabbed in the back. Always avoid Buffalo Wild Wings. I guess so, Steve, particularly in Manchester. So anyway, they, of course, and everything, the news agency gets a hold of Uber, and of course Uber writes a statement on this. Guess what their little statement is? This was a horrific act of violence. Our thoughts are with the rider, and we wish them a swift recovery. We've been in contact with police and will continue to assist with their investigation. Okay, yeah, good corporate blah, blah, blah. But again, I'm suspicious at this point, because the passenger got stabbed in the back. And did I say multiple times? I'm not going back to the article. We're just going to keep cruising through this. But then, of course, Uber says, well, Joseph's access to the platform has been removed while the investigation is ongoing. Well, good call, Uber. You might have given a passenger a buy on it and said, well, we're just going to wait, see what happens. If they stab any more people, then maybe we'll deactivate them. But that's okay. They can just go get another account. And then meanwhile, Joseph's cruising around in some, stolen account, probably that he had going on once he made bail, because he got he had to bond out on $150,000 bail bond. He was charged with assault in the first degree and tampering with evidence. So it's been an interesting case. I doubt we'll hear any more on it because, people in the gig economy are probably the only ones that find this interesting. But I don't know, someday it might end up on some crime procedural show with it. But yeah, so there's your bad driver of the week. Passengers, be careful. If they don't have a dash cam, be careful about getting into that car, because to me, if somebody doesn't want to document what they're doing, there's a reason for that. And those aren't probably the kind of people you want to be riding around with. Either they're complacent, and don't get me wrong, because there's a lot of people that can't afford them. And they're literally, there's people that cash out doing these apps. They're literally bleeding to death financially trying to do it. And they're cashing out in the middle of the day to either pay a bill, cash out in the middle of the day to get some fuel and things like that. So don't think I'm not sympathetic, or, I'm not very sympathetic. We've had that discussion plenty tonight. I'm empathetic, and I will fight for the right causes. But, just size up that scene whenever you, go, oh my gosh, I just sound like I was back at search and rescue calling. Anyway, but yeah, do a scene size up whenever you're approaching the vehicle. And drivers, same thing for you guys. It's Uber, Lyft, Drivers Co-op Colorado, they're not doing anything. None of them are doing anything to keep you safe to the degree that is going to make a huge difference. So you guys are out there, I don't want to say on your own, because you're not, but use common sense. And if it feels wrong, just follow your instincts. Get the hell out of there. And like Awesome Amy says, yeah, the riders can always record the ride interactions with their phones to cover themselves. And absolutely. And I see like probably 1 out of every 100 rides that they actually use that. So it's a really low percentile of something being used. The thing I don't like, but if you didn't have anything, if I was a regular rider, and again, this is going to sound really, Mr. Overprotector, blah, blah, blah. You can call me sexist, whatever. But if I was a female, look, there's a whole lot of men that have serious freaking boundary issues, ladies. I listen to the crap from them, so I know, and I've heard stories from ladies. So if I was a lady, I sure as hell would have the record a ride feature on every freaking trip. And it's just, again, I know it takes up storage space on your phone. I know you don't have access to the audio or the video because it's encrypted, and only Uber or Lyft have it, but do that to protect yourself, because if you got a driver that's gonna try something, they're gonna know that that's recorded. That's really the best safety feature that that's amazing for passengers. I think it's useless for drivers, but I think it's a great feature for passengers. So definitely use that. Thanks for bringing that up, Amy. I do seldom, because I'm not in the rider position. I do, sometimes not think in that capacity. And I try to do that because I really want to bring the riders into this conversation as well. And even the people who get their food delivered to them, y'all can come into this conversation as well too. I'd love to have you join it. So say my name. Oh gosh, no, Steve, no, no. Thanks. We're at the end of the episode, and Steve ruins it with the say my name game. Say, hi, what's your name? I usually I'm gonna get reported for a false account or something, Steve, one day, because when somebody's like, "Hey, Shawn," or "Are you Shawn?" I was like, well, that's what it says on my driver's license, and my mama used to call me, so I hope I'm Shawn. Someday I'm going to get reported for that. Just mark my word. I'll probably get deactivated for a false account because just being a smart ass. But Anyway, guys, episode 12 is behind us. We'll talk about a couple other things that I got on here, particularly about Uber. Wait, no, I have one. I have got to find this. I did not load this slide. We are going to. No. I'm loading this and putting this up here, Steve, and this one's for you. So whatever you're doing, don't go away. I am loading this one up, and we're going to talk about this one. I don't even know how it didn't even make it into my show notes. So we're going to pull this one out, this rabbit out of our hat here. Oh my gosh. I was so busy ranting and prepping for everything going off with my little friends. Yeah, you need child locks. Yeah. So, Steve, what do you think I'm going to talk about? You know what that is, Steve? That is the world's first vertiport in Dubai. Oh my gosh, I can't believe, where did my notes even go on this? It didn't even, they got cut out of there. Yeah, I know. Anyway, did you see that, Steve? That's the first vertiport. Has two pads, and it has 4 levels on it. It's directly connected to the Dubai International Airport, and they're ready to go by the end of the year. They've got their vertiport set up, and everything is going. How did that not even? I give up. Anyway, that one's ready to go. We didn't Sue. There was no contingency about where they were going to fly. There was no contingency set. We can go back and listen to every single recording. It was, when are they going to take commercial flights? Has nothing to do with the U.S. If Steve didn't properly hedge his bet, that is not my fault. But they're going to be flying by the end of the year. And Sue, you kept saying, and I just froze. Sue, you kept saying you're going to say never, never, never. But they're going to be flying soon, guys. You're going to go, Colorado Ride Guy was right. That Shawn guy, he's a pain in the ass to the co-op because they don't like hearing the truth. But he's right about eVTOL. So, no, that's not an AI picture, dude. That is not an AI picture at all. But you keep on dreaming there, Sporto. We can talk about that more tomorrow or Thursday if you want to get into it. I'll bring the facts to the party, because again, I go with what and Steve, as you know, and I know, sometimes people misrepresent the facts. All of you on here know that, because we sat here and listened to a whole lot of, marketing math tonight. So I think there's a large portion of that because they're trying to make the investors happy. But no, this stuff's going to happen before the Olympics. But my date's the Olympics. Steve's got his. Doesn't matter. Tweaker Geographic already has eVTOL. I was actually going to do an AI prompt with that one that you ran with the box fan guy. I still might do it. Maybe I'll put it up. Maybe we'll do it for Thursday. Anyway, guys, episode 12 is done. I'm done. I'm done with the co-op unless they come after me anymore, or if they post more ridiculous things like that and they keep lying to people, I'll come back. But the big part of this, it's off. If they want to send me along my way, we can have that discussion. I don't care. I'm more effective to helping the drivers in this capacity, and that's what scares them than where I was. So, guys, have a great night. thank you again for tuning in. We're going to be at lucky episode 13 next week. Thanks for all tuning in. You guys have a blessed rest of your week. Take care.